girl trapped beneath her own house, a foghorn that brings death from the sea, and a face that watches through windows no one else can see. These aren't stories, they're real, and they're happening in places just like yours. Ready to know the truth? Don't say we didn't warn you. I had just moved into a small coastal town in Oregon for some peace and quiet. After years of city chaos, I craved isolation. The town was quiet, too quiet. Everyone avoided the cliffside trail near my rental cottage. They said it led to an old lighthouse that was cursed, but I didn't care about ghost tales. I was a writer looking for inspiration. One afternoon, while exploring the cliffs, I noticed a crumbling stone path hidden behind thick bushes. Curiosity took over. I followed the path and found the abandoned lighthouse. It stood tall and broken, windows shattered, rust covering its frame. The door was slightly open. Inside, it smelled of salt and rot. The air felt heavy. Wooden stairs spiraled upward, creaking with each step. I reached the keeper's room at the top and noticed a thick, leather-bound book half covered in dust. It was a diary. I took it back home. That night, as the wind howled, I opened it. The entries were dated from 1927. The handwriting was rushed, panicked. The keeper wrote about a thing in the sea, not a ship, not human. Something that climbed the rocks every night, tapping on the lighthouse door. At first he thought it was a sailor, but it had claws, and it never spoke. One line chilled me. If you find this diary, burn it. Don't go back. It sees you now. Thunder cracked outside. My lights flickered. A low whistle echoed through my hallway. My heart stopped. I hadn't left any windows open. I grabbed the diary and slammed it shut. The whistle came again, louder this time, like something dragging its breath along the walls. I ran to check the windows. All locked tight. The front door creaked slightly, just enough to move. My blood went cold. I flipped back through the diary, looking for answers. The final pages were messy, almost unreadable. The last entry was just one sentence. Once you read about it, it follows. I tossed the book across the room. That's when the lights cut out. Darkness swallowed the cottage. I fumbled for my phone, but the screen wouldn't turn on. No signal. Just then, I heard a tap on the glass. Not a knock, a claw tap. I froze. Slowly turning my head toward the living room window, I saw something move. A tall shadow, standing too still. It pressed against the glass, and I swear I saw barnacles on its arms, seaweed clinging to dripping skin. Its eyes were not eyes, just glowing holes leaking salt water. I backed away, heart pounding. The diary lay open again, pages flipping violently. Though there was no wind, it was inside now. I ran to the bathroom and locked myself in. Hours passed, silence. Then I heard wet footprints in the hallway, a scratch on the bathroom door, then nothing. When morning came, I found the house empty, but every mirror was fogged, even though I hadn't used the shower. Written on each mirror, in salt, you're marked. I packed my bags and left the town without looking back. I mailed the diary to a university, hoping they'd lock it away. But yesterday, I got a package at my new apartment. No return address, just a book, the diary, still wet. It started when we moved into that old Pennsylvania farmhouse. My dad got a job out there, and my mom thought the countryside would help her anxiety. The place was cheap, too cheap. That should have been our first warning. On our first night, I noticed something odd. The basement door had 6 different locks on it. Huge metal bolts, one on top of another. My dad thought it was for storage. Maybe someone kept valuables down there. He removed them without thinking. That night, I heard crying, not just sobbing. It sounded like a girl, maybe 8 or 9, weeping right beneath my room. I asked my parents if they heard it. They didn't. They just said it was the wind. But I knew what I heard. The next night, I pressed my ear to the floor. The crying came again, clearer this time, and then something else. A voice whispering my name, slowly, over and over. I ran to the basement door. It was open. I called out, "Hello." No answer. Just the sound of something shifting in the dark. I turned the lights on, but the switch didn't work. I grabbed a flashlight and stepped down, heart pounding. The basement was cold, damp, boxers and old tools were scattered everywhere. And then, I saw her, a little girl, sitting in the corner, arms wrapped around her knees. Her hair was wet, her dress torn. She looked up at me slowly. Her eyes weren't right, too wide, too black. I stumbled back, dropping the flashlight. The beam rolled across the floor, and when I picked it up again, she was gone. I ran upstairs and slammed the basement door shut. My dad laughed it off. My mom just told me not to scare myself. But I knew what I saw. That night, I dreamed of her. She stood at the foot of my bed, soaking wet, whispering, "Don't leave me." When I woke up, my feet were muddy. Wet footprints led from the bed to the hallway. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next day, I searched the house for answers. In the attic, I found an old photograph tucked inside a floorboard. It showed a family, parents, and a little girl. The girl had the same eyes. The back was labeled, "Emily. Died in the flood, 1923. I knew then we weren't alone. And whatever was in that basement wasn't just a memory. It wanted something. Kayla stumbled backward from the heavy basement door. As it creaked open by itself, her flashlight flickered again, and a deep coldness rushed up the stairs. Holding her breath, she descended. The air was damp, and the floor below was covered in old, dusty rugs. She saw old furniture stacked carelessly, broken toys, and a moldy dollhouse. But what made her freeze was the faint sound of soft, continuous humming. A girl's voice, Kayla whispered, "Hello." Her voice echoed back at her. No answer. She followed the humming, flashlight shaking in her grip. And then she saw her. In the corner of the basement, sitting against the wall, was a girl in a tattered white dress. Her hair covered her face. She rocked slowly, humming the same song Kayla remembered from her childhood, a lullaby her grandma used to sing. Kayla's voice trembled. Who are you?" The girl stopped humming. Slowly, she raised her head, revealing her face, and Kayla nearly screamed. The girl's face looked like her, same eyes, same freckles, but paler, lifeless. Her lips moved silently before she whispered, "Why did you leave me here?" Kayla backed away, heart racing. "No, I don't know you. I've never seen you before." The girl stood. "You were supposed to protect me, but you forgot me." The basement grew darker, walls pulsing like they were breathing. The light from Kayla's flashlight died completely. She screamed and turned to run, but the basement stretched. The stairs were gone, the door above disappeared. She was trapped. A chorus of whispers echoed around her, now children's voices, crying, calling her name, accusing her. Shadows formed along the walls, each of them shaped like a little girl. All of them had her face. Kayla dropped to her knees, covering her ears. "Stop it. This isn't real." Then came the voice again, the original girl, right in front of her. "You left us all. Now you stay." Hands shot out from the floorboards, grabbing Kayla's wrists and ankles. Cold and bony, they pulled her down through the floor. She screamed, kicking and fighting, but the strength of dozens of forgotten girls dragged her below. Darkness swallowed her whole. When Kayla's parents returned that night, the house was silent. They found her phone in the hallway. The basement door was locked again, but this time, nailed shut. They heard nothing, saw nothing. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, her mother swore she heard humming from the basement floor. A lullaby, the same one Kayla used to sing as a child. Returned to his hometown of Franklin Ridge after vanishing for nearly 2 years, everyone was stunned. He had been declared legally dead. A memorial service had been held. His parents had moved away, broken from the grief. And yet here he stood wearing the same blue hoodie he disappeared in, his hair longer, eyes darker, and his voice quieter. He claimed he didn't remember where he had been, said he just woke up in the woods outside of town last week. The doctors were baffled. There were no signs of trauma, no memory issues according to scans. But something was different. Afrika, his childhood friend, was the first to notice. Caden didn't laugh the same. He didn't eat. He didn't sleep. He spent hours at the cemetery, especially near his own grave. He watched people too closely, as if studying them. In his house, it stayed cold, even in August. One night, Rika followed him. She saw him standing motionless in the woods, whispering to someone, or something, but no one else was there. "Caden," she called. He turned slowly. "You shouldn't be here." His eyes reflected light like an animal's, and his voice, it echoed with something beneath it, like a second voice speaking at the same time. Rika ran. Later she tried to tell the sheriff, but he just nodded and muttered, "It's starting again." She pressed him. He refused to say more. Then she found old newspaper clippings in the library archives. A boy named Caleb vanished in 1973, returned 2 years later. Same story, same woods, same grave obsession. Days later, his family was found butchered. Caleb vanished again. No one ever solved it. Rika realized the pattern was repeating. She confronted Caden the next morning. "What did you bring back with you?" He smiled, and never left. Rika couldn't sleep. Caden's words echoed in her head, and never left. What did that mean? And why had he smiled like that, calm, empty, cold? She stayed up all night researching. More cases emerged. In 1951, a girl named Mia disappeared from Franklin Ridge and returned after 2 years. She acted strange, then her entire school class died in a mysterious fire. In 1898, a man returned from the woods after a long walk. 4 families disappeared that winter. Whatever was happening wasn't new. It was a cycle. And it always started with someone returning. By morning, Rika had a plan. She gathered every record, article, and report she could find and drove to the sheriff's office. But he was gone. His house was empty, his cruiser abandoned in the driveway. Just like that, vanished. That night, the air in town shifted. Dogs barked nonstop. The streetlights flickered, and Caden walked house to house, slowly, quietly, watching. Rika waited on her porch with a flashlight and a baseball bat. Her heart raced. At midnight, Caden stopped in front of her yard. He didn't blink. "You're stronger than the last one," he said. "They always fear the curious ones." "What are you?" she asked. Caden tilted his head. "I was just a doorway. It's out now." Suddenly he vanished, just blinked out of existence. Then screams filled the air. Rika ran through the streets. People were missing. Houses were open, lights on. No one inside. In the woods, shadows moved, huge, inhuman. A deep growl rolled through the trees. She reached the cemetery. Caden stood by his grave, hands outstretched. From the dirt, something was crawling out. Not human. Pale, Long fingers, black eyes. "I'm tired of coming back alone," Caden whispered. "This time, it stays." Rika charged at him with the bat, striking his head. He dropped the figure from the grave, hissed, and lunged. She grabbed a lantern and smashed it on the creature, flames bursting round it. The thing shrieked and melted into the soil, smoke rising. Caden groaned on the ground. "It's not over." Then he collapsed. Rika burned the grave. She called everyone she could. The fire department, news crews. They said it was a delusion, a breakdown, stress, but she knew Caden was taken to a facility. But every few nights, Rika sees him standing at the edge of the woods, watching, smiling, and sometimes, the lights flicker, the air grows cold, and a voice, deep and layered, whispers from the trees. "You saw me? Now you're part of it." The town sleeps, but Rika doesn't. She knows the cycle hasn't ended, it's just waiting.